The story has a tragic ending, I think. The young man could have chosen to follow Jesus, and instead of being the anonymous rich young ruler, he would have been a named disciple. He would have been forever wealthy, but he chose poorly. You have to choose where to put your treasure. Why did Jesus challenge that young man so hard? It's because where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Jesus demanded his heart. And that demand is no less for you or for me. Does he have your heart? The answer to that question lies in the asking of another. Does he have your treasure? Well, Jesus again restates his principle. You have to choose. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? What does he mean here? Your eye is how you see the world, how you view life. If you view life with a clear eye, meaning an eye that does not have double vision, which is symbolic for a view of life that's based on truth and reality, as opposed to lies and illusions, your whole body, meaning your whole life, will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, meaning that you deliberately or unwittingly hang on to those lies and illusions, your life will be in darkness. You have to make a choice. You have to decide how you will view life. A little local history here. Martin Charger. As a boy, Martin Charger was known by the name Wawasini. I think I said that right. Means dependable. He was told by his father to always be generous to his fellow Lakota tribesmen, which he considered far more important than going to war to earn honor and fame. Nevertheless, when he grew older, Charger became a warrior in the Itazipku tribe. He went to war against the Crows and joined the Grass Society because of his bravery. At age 19, he married Walking Hale, a Yankton woman. I wonder if she lived up to her name. He later married a second wife called Eliza. And as his family grew, he recognized the responsibility for them, and he began working for peace between his tribe and traditional enemies. He, for example, visited and invited the Crows and the Arikaras for feasts. At Fort Pierre, he led the bands gathered there and talked to others who came there to trade to stay peaceful to the whites. What you don't read on the politically corrected internet sites, and that I know from personal conversations with my friend Jed Jezik, who lives at LaPlante, is that Martin Charger had become a Christian. And as a Christian, he had adjusted his view of life to that of Jesus Christ. That's why he did what he did. In 1860, Charger and several other young men founded the Fool Soldier Society, which later played a prominent part in the rescue of the Chautauqua captives who were held by the Dakotas in 1862. Jed tells me that out of his own wealth, Martin Charger bought the release of a number of white women and children from their Dakota captors and returned them to Fort Pierre in the middle of the winter. It cost Charger everything he had. Martin Charger was a man who had made a choice of how he would view his world. And he chose to view it with the good eye of Jesus Christ. He actually went to Washington as a tribal delegate 4 times. 1870, 1875, 1888, and 1892. In August of 1900, he became ill and died. Martin Charger chose to view the world with a good eye. Well, once again, Jesus restates the principle: you have to choose. No one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will hold on to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. The master exercised authority over the entire being of the slave. He wasn't just the master for an 8-hour shift, and then the slave was free to go his own way. No, the slave was at the master's disposal 24/7. He had no discretionary time that he could use to hire out to another master. If he was put in an imaginary situation where he had 2 masters, he could not continue in it. He would have to choose one or the other. He would have to listen and obey the one master, and he would have to ignore the other. And who are the competing masters here? Jesus says it's God and mammon. Mammon is the ancient god of materialism. Jesus makes it clear from the onset, you cannot serve both. You have to choose. Either God will rule or materialism will rule. But both cannot rule the same person. You have to decide. Jesus has made his point 4 times now. You have to choose. If you want to follow me, you have to choose. You have to choose where you will put your treasure, and in doing so, where you will put your heart. You have to choose whom you're going to please. You have to choose how you will view the world. And you have to choose between God and materialism. You cannot go on with Jesus Christ unless you make these choices. The rich young ruler couldn't go on until he made his choice. And he chose not to go on. But now the Lord makes a promise. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Choose well, and you will be rewarded. Choose his kingdom as the place of your investment, and you will have wealth for eternity. A purse that never wears out. And eternity is a long, long time. Choose his kingdom. It's the only thing that makes sense to the clear eye of faith. The only thing. Choose his righteousness and no other. His righteousness is presented to you as a blood-bought gift from a hill called Calvary to be received by faith. and evidenced by choice. It's the choice of God over materialism, of Christ over everything. Have you made your choice? Don't make it lightly, because God is not amused or fooled by insincerity. If you want to make a choice like that this day, I'd invite you to come up to the front after the benediction. And I or the elders would be grateful to pray with you. Choose well. There is great promise in choosing well. Heidi, would you come and lead us in our This whole matter of choice is not a new thing. It's as old as the patriarchs. And the choice will continue to confront every person who wants to follow Christ until the end of the age. Hear the words of Joshua. Choose for yourselves today whom you will serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. What is your choice?